Come on down with me. Get your fishing line. We'll be doing all the fun things that cause us to be losing track of time. Come on down with me. Grab your rod, you'll find. Maybe.
Welcome back to the Outdoor Experience with Dale Helgeson. Today on our product spotlight, we're going to be talking about ice fishing. And I know I'm wearing my Wind Rider shirt, which is my official ice suit. But we're going to talk about something different today. We're going to talk about tip downs. If people have not used tip downs, it's something you need to put in your arsenal for ice fishing, especially for crappies and perch. Great, specifically shallow water. If you're looking to get those crappies out of the weeds, this is a great technique. I have caught multitude of things on these. I've caught walleyes, bass, 10-pound northerns on these things. But specifically, I used to hand make my own years ago. We'd make a wood base with cheap little rods that flip down. And they were effective, but you put them in your ice shack, drag them out, you'd always have problems with something getting broke. So I found this company, and they are not even a sponsor of mine. I just asked them if they would send me one to try, and they sent me some to try. And these things, I've been using these for probably 15 years now. So they're from Innovative Manufacturing. These things are one of the most creative, simple tip down designs I've seen. So you see, it's just a big plastic tube, and what it has is this end, and it just rotates off. Just spins off, it's threaded, and when you pull that out, now your tube's hollow, but inside of it is actually your rod and your base. The base is super simple. You just fold down the legs, and you actually just screw this back on. And the one thing you got to look at is if it's real windy, don't be afraid to pack a little snow on these to hold this down. Because it is just a plastic tube, it's fairly light, but put a little snow on there, then you see this little tab on the end, and this pulls out the rest of your shaft system. And what this is where your rod will sit, and I'll show you that. Typically I will have it all the way out because I'm a taller guy, and I like to just walk up and grab it and pull the fish in. If you're shorter, you can have it down. If it's real windy, I'll actually have it down a little bit. But typically, I have it up all the way. Now we'll talk about the rod. The rod's a very simplistic design, but it's a great engineering. So you have the simple rod. You have pins for balancing on your shaft. The reel has a little flip out handle. You have an eyelet here and an eyelet on the end, and it's real simple. I run 2 to 4 pound test. I use a split shot, and I use a true turn hook. About as simple as you can get. I use minnows on these. I hook them right behind the dorsal fin or even in the tail sometimes to get a little more action. On these rods, you'll see these little jointed things. So if you have your line going through there, you just pull this up and set it behind there, and what that does is it stops the line from going out. So as you get a fish, it's not spooling. So right now I'm pulling on this line, it's not spooling, but if you get a big fish, it can still go without breaking your line. So and the whole concept is when this is sitting on here, it just balances, and you just pull it down. When the fish pulls it down, there's no tension, and then you can just take it and set the hook. When I set the hook on these, the one thing I do is if the fish is pulling it down, I grab the reel to set the hook. I don't just grab the rod, I grab the reel to make sure the reel doesn't spool any more line out. I set the hook, and then I just set it back in the holder and hand line it. So I hand line the fish in. If you get a big fish, the reason I like to do this, if you get a big fish and it needs a takeout line, you can let it run through your hands, but it's just peeling it off the spool. If you have somebody with you, they can hang on to this. That way they can reel in the slack as you're pulling it back to keep the line out of the ice. Very simple tool. If you're using a little bigger minnow and it's pulling this down, this rod does have this little cap on the end where you could stick a little nail, you could stick sinkers, some type of little weight back there to get this to balance right, because you want as little attention as possible for the fish. And then when you're done at night, on the rod there's little holes in all these 4 sides. I just stick it in one, reel it tight, fold that handle back in, fold the legs down, unscrew it. Make sure you push the shaft in. You don't want to break the tips of the shaft. You set this right between the 4 legs, and inside this reel where we put the hook, there's little notches to put all these legs, so the legs fit in there. And when they fit tight, you know you got a good setup, so it'll fit inside the rod holder. Then you just stick it in, tighten it down. Another nice features they have this is a piece of tape that's reflective, so if you're at night, say a snowmobiler's coming by, or a 4-wheeler, another fisherman, or if you're just trying to find them at night, you can find your tip downs. And they also put this nice little measuring rule on here so you can measure your fish, make sure they're all legal. But again, this is from Innovative Manufacturing. If you're in southeast Wisconsin, check out the Bait Box on the Rock. They do carry these. Get them while they have them. Supplies are limited. So make sure you get on these right away before the season starts, and you'll be incredibly happy. And wait for more videos to come using these this winter. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more videos. And don't forget, Bait Box on the Rocks will have these on stock.
Come on